Welcome to this lunchtime broadcast, which highlights the news making headlines in the land of the brave and beyond, ranging from current affairs, community stories, sports, and economic news. Here are the news headlines. We will not abandon Amushelelo NEFF says. Now, 8th annual meeting by the Forum of CEOs of Public Entities underway. Free medical checks for children at the Namibia Children's Home. I am Glenn Rashipura, and this is NMH at 1. In our midday news update, a procession by members of public enterprises was held early this morning in the streets of Grootfontein. This is in celebration of the opening of the 8th annual meeting by the Forum of CEOs of Public Entities. The event, which will continue until the 3rd of June, is presented in collaboration with the National Youth Service as well as NAMCO. During the event, football matches between the CEOs and managing directors of various PEs will be held at Rietfontein. Afterwards, several networking sessions will be offered for these leaders, where they will share their experiences and best practices with each other. Visual News brings you local stories from across Namibia right after the break. Stay with NMH at 1.
To another exciting episode of Irongo Talk.
Is die weer en vertel ook vir julle waar die vis julle moontlik gaan byt.
Getting into our visual news, the Namibia Children's Home is the beneficiary of a joint initiative between the Office of the First Lady of Namibia and the Embassy of the People's Republic of China in Namibia. As part of the Warm Children's Hearts, a China-Africa joint action, the one-day event yesterday offered free medical checks for children by a delegate of 10 Chinese medical doctors, exemplifying the strong bond between Namibia and China. First Lady Monica Gengos delivered the keynote address at the event.
While the Chinese First Lady has provided leadership and awareness raising on HIV in China, this program we are launching today is not focused on HIV necessarily, but is more focused on general health screening of children living in orphanages. Prevention of any health ailment is always better and cheaper than cure. Professor Amushelelo, we wish you all the best in your important work today. And please pass my gratitude. Actually, I can do it myself, since they're sitting right in front of me. Thank you to all of you who are part of the Chinese medical team, because the work you are doing will lead to long and healthy lives for these children. And I wish you long and healthy lives for your commitment to this initiative. My office is incredibly grateful for the close collaboration with key ministries like the Ministry of Youth, Sport and National Service, the Ministry of Gender Equality, Poverty, Eradication and Social Welfare, the Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Health and Social Services. Because in our work, we focus on the physical, mental, and intellectual health of adolescents and young people. I'm confident that by now many of you have heard about Project Be Free. And this is the signage that's there. And on that side, you'll notice it says powered by youth, because it is. And everything we've learned with Project Be Free, we're currently constructing a center which we'll call the Be Free Youth Campus, which will be a youth-friendly and judgment-free environment for young people to thrive. The youth campus will have a multidisciplinary team and focus to create a safe and enabling environment for quality access to adolescent-friendly healthcare, mental health support, skills development, academic support, and entrepreneurial development. Young people face many challenges. Young people who live in residential care facilities like this one face even more challenges. And the Project Be Free campus will welcome all young people, regardless of their circumstances, to join our Be Free family and allow us to journey with them so that we can co-create solutions that heal, empower, and protect. This Warm Hearts initiative is not just about ensuring the provision of healthcare to orphans and vulnerable children. It's also about friendship. It's about sending the message that it may feel like the world has forgotten you, but you are not forgotten. You are not alone. Ambassador, through
The latest police recruitment in the Karas region, fueled by exclusion of the region's biggest ethnic group, will only make it harder for the ruling party to reclaim the two southern regions, reports the Namibian Sun in its lead story. The details follow after the break.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with entertainment. Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news. Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
Let's take a look at today's daily newspapers. Some SWAPO Central Committee members have warned the party that the latest police recruitment in the Karas region, which seems to show massive exclusion of the region's biggest ethnic group, will only make it harder for the ruling party to reclaim the two southern regions, reports Namibian Sun on its front page. Now, a debate ensued among Central Committee members yesterday, with some defending the outcome of the recruitment process, which shows that the majority of the 183 shortlisted candidates have Oshiwambo surnames. Now, the Namibia Economic Freedom Fighters will not abandon its commissar, Michael Amushelelo, while he is behind bars. This is according to President Epapharas Mwakwilongo, who said the party is genuinely worried about his safety and its support for Amushelelo remains unwavering amid talks that NEFF was considering stopping payment of his legal fees. Amushelelo has been under arrest since the 21st of March following a cancelled demonstration regarding youth unemployment. There is no pressure paying his legal fees. We are not under pressure. We are still paying. That is our conversation. We will not stop paying, he said. We are with Amushelelo. We are on one side. We are not divided. He is our commissar. Moving on to Republicans' front page, a huge python estimated to be over 5 meters long was recently encountered at the Damara Dek Safari's Lodge, a hunting lodge located about 20 kilometers outside Tsumeb. Dana Dekok, a farm manager, said that he and workers initially only noticed the towing cell at one post and followed it, after which they came across the snake. Dekok says although he could not measure the snake, he estimates it was between 5 and 6 meters long. The giant snake was safely released again after a photo was taken. This is the third giant python that has been found on the farm in the last 20 years, Julio Lopez, owner of the lodge, told Republican. Now, Angolan national oil company Sanangol has repaid $524 million to Sungara Energies, a joint venture based in London with the National Petroleum Corporation of Namibia NAMCOR as co-owner. This after allegations that the payment to the Angolan entity was not properly approved in Namibia. Sanangol is said to be unhappy with the controversy his name has been dragged into following media reports in Namibia that the payments were made to the company that were not approved by the NAMCOR board. Allgemeine Zeitung today leads with the first synchronized aerial transboundary census in the Kavango-Zambezi Transfrontier Conservation Area, which was conducted last year and will inform policy and management decisions on elephants. It is estimated that there are 24,000 elephants in the Kasa area, which Namibia's share is about 14%. On page 3 of the Allgemeine Zeitung, NAMCOR CEO Mulunga is alleged to have bypassed the board in approving a payment to the Angolan company Sanangol. The latter has now repaid the money. The Anti-Corruption Commission has exonerated Mulonga. That is what Algemeine Zeitung is attending to. Now, the amount involved is $542 million Namibian dollars. Sanangol is said to be unhappy about the controversy that arose after media outlets in Namibia reported. After the break, we continue with the newspaper review. Good evening and welcome to Sunset News.
Dutch stays in list A in the speech, rate and taxes, and how much.
After the break, we take a look at the sports.
We bring you
economic indicators, tomorrow's weather and sports. I am Aina Raiza Kweo.
We continue with our newspaper review. The Namibian newspaper reports that the SWAPO-backed Namibia Food and Allied Workers Union has failed to account for over $20 million Namibian dollars in union funds, including $7 million Namibian dollars in workers' contributions. This is according to an audit report from auditors Sanderson and Co., which analyzed Namibia's financial statement for the year ending December 2017. It shows that the union, which boasts 15,000 members across the country, is in a financial mess. Former Minister of Fisheries and Marine Resources Bernard Esau, who is facing charges in the fish rod fishing quotas fraud and corruption case, was a trustee of the union until he was arrested in 2019. On page 3, the paper reports that two SWAPO members of parliament from the Oshikoto region who have allegedly supported Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah in her bid for a second term as SWAPO vice president at the party's elective congress in November last year have been removed as MPs. Omutele constituency councillor Saki Nangula and Olukonda constituency councillor Philemon Jambula have been removed at a meeting to elect members of the Oshikoto Regional Council Membership Committee as per Article 109 of the Constitution. Now, moving on to our new era, a horde of unemployed young people on Monday flocked to the Kamono Community Hall in Katima Mulilo to share their frustration, reports New Era. The public hearing was organized in response to the Popular Democratic Movement Member of Parliament, Ena Hengare, whose motion seeks to discuss and debate the youth unemployment crisis in Namibia. The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Human Resources and Community Development held public hearings in various regions to canvass input on the crucial motion. Onto New Era's page 3, the outcry by traditional authorities in Omaheke region for decent office space to run their affairs have finally been answered with the announcement that the Omaheke Regional Council has secured $17 million for the construction of 3 office blocks. This was said by Kalahari constituency councillor and chairperson of the Regional Council Management Committee, Ignatius Karisep, who was re-elected as chairperson of the Management Committee yesterday. Moving on to Market Watch, reassurances yesterday by Paladin Energy and Deep Yellow that they were not aware of any legislative changes in Namibia that will affect the ownership of their assets in the country did little to regain the confidence of shareholders and investors. Paladin, the majority shareholder of the Langa Hendrik mine in Namibia, had to halt trading on the Australian Stock Exchange on Tuesday when their share price dropped by about 20% to 54 Australian cents per share. Deep Yellow took a knock off as much as 13.4% to 54 Australian cents in its biggest intraday percentage drop since the 9th of May. The company recently completed a definitive feasibility study at its Tumas uranium project in Namibia. Now, the first synchronized trans-boundary aerial survey of the Kavango-Zambezi Transfrontier Conservation Area was carried out last year and will inform policy and management decisions on elephants. This story leads us into economic news.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Let's take a look at our economic news. The first synchronized transboundary aerial survey of the Kavango-Zambezi Transfrontier Conservation Area was carried out last year and will inform policy and management decisions on elephants. Dr. Nyambe Kaza TFCA Secretariat Executive Director shared the latest about the survey during a presentation on the status and management of elephants in Kaza. It is estimated that over 24,000 elephants roam the Namibia-Kaza area. The Kaza TFCA is the largest transfrontier conservation area in the world, covering almost 520,000 kilometers squared in Angola, Botswana, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Namibia. Nyambe said the Kaza elephant population represents 50% of the savanna elephant population. If you add the other SADC countries, you are talking about probably close to 80% of the elephant population. And this brings up a very important issue of transboundary management and collaboration, Nyambe said. Let's take a look at our economic indicators. The Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 24.55, against the euro at 21.11, and against the US dollar at 19.72, and $2 Namibian and 77 cents against yuan Chinese yuan. All selected NS stock closing prices remain the same. Overall index closed at 0.37%. Zinc went down 4.03%, while Brent crude oil went up 0.72%, trading at $72 and 78 cents per barrel. Foreign ministers from the BRICS countries are meeting in South Africa from today. More on this after the break.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Getting into our news from across the continent, foreign ministers from the BRICS countries are meeting in South Africa starting today as the five-nation bloc seeks to forge itself into a counterweight to Western geopolitical dominance in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The talks are a prelude to an August summit in Johannesburg that has already created controversy because of the possible attendance of Russian President Vladimir Putin, the target of an International Criminal Court arrest warrant. ICC accused him in March of the war crime of forcibly deporting children from Russian-occupied territory in Ukraine. Moscow denies the allegations. South Africa had already invited Putin in January. South African authorities confirmed that foreign ministers from Brazil, Russia, India, and South Africa are attending today's meeting in Cape Town. A deputy minister representing China is representing China. Now, no agenda has been made public, but analysts said discussions would aim to deepen ties among existing members and consider an expansion of the group. In our next story, Nigerian police have rescued 6 pregnant women after busting a suspected baby factory in Rivers State, local media reports. Now, police said they had arrested a 39-year-old woman, the alleged owner of the child trafficking home. They said she had confessed to the crime and that she had been in the trafficking business for a long time. Now, stories of the so-called baby factories are not uncommon in Nigeria, where women are abducted for the purpose of getting them pregnant and selling the babies. In 2019, Nigerian police freed 19 pregnant women from properties in Lagos described as baby factories. A year earlier, more than 160 children rescued from 2 unregistered orphanages in the city. After the break, we get into your international news. Good evening and welcome to Sunset News.
Dutchman stays in list A in the speech, rate in taxes, and how much
After the break, we take a look at the sports.
We bring you
Economic indicators, tomorrow's weather and sports. I am Aina Raiza Kweo.
Getting into the international news, Amazon is to pay $25 million to settle allegations that it violated children's privacy rights with its Alexa voice assistant. The company agreed to pay the U.S. Federal Trade Commission after it was accused of failing to delete Alexa recordings at the request of parents. It was found to have kept hold of sensitive data for years. Amazon's doorbell camera unit Ring will also pay out after giving employees unrestricted access to customers' data. Ring will pay $5.8 million to authorities, according to a filing in federal court in the District of Columbia. Now, according to the FTC complaint regarding Alexa, Amazon prominently and repeatedly assured its users, including parents, that they could delete voice recordings collected by the system, but the company did not do this, keeping data for years and using it unlawfully to help improve its Alexa algorithm, the complaint said. After the break, we get into your local sports news.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Let's take a look at the local sports news. Employee benefits group Alex Forbes has partnered with Namibia's Technical Basketball Academy to empower young individuals by supporting their growth through sports and life skills training. The TBA is making waves on the outskirts of Windhoek, North Namibia, with its after-school sports program, founded in 2015 by Titus Mohafa. The academy, through basketball and life skills training, aims to empower African youth and shape them into responsible citizens. In our next story, the Eagles men's cricket team, supported by Airlink, was announced this morning by Cricket Namibia in the capital. The Eagle team of 15 will be captained by Gerhard Erasmus. From Friday, the Eagles play against Karnataka, a provincial team from India, in the Castle Light series of 5 games at United in Windhoek. National Paralympic Committee Secretary General Michael Hamukwaya says the recently released International Paralympic Committee standing will guide their selection of athletes who will represent Namibia at the upcoming World Para-Athletics Championships. The NPC recently concluded its World Para-Athletics 2023 European Grand Prix of Jesolo, Italy, and Notwil Grand Prix in Switzerland. These formed part of the 10th anniversary of the WPA Grand Prix, and the NPC used the opportunity to improve its athletes, ranking ahead of the IPC World Para-Athletics Championships slated for France in July 2023. We now get into your international sports news.
eTicket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
Let's get into international sports news. Sevilla found their Europa League magic formula on Wednesday, beating Roma 4-1 on penalties after a 1-1 draw to make it 7 wins in 7 finals in Europe's second-tier competition. The Spanish side trailed after Paulo Diabla's first half opener in Budapest, but pulled level in the second period when Roma defender Gianluigi Mancini scored an own goal. Extra time could not separate the teams and the game went to penalties at the Puskás Arena. Gonzalo Montiel, who scored the winning penalty in the 2022 World Cup final, netted the decisive spot kick after Mancini and Roger Ebens had failed to convert for Roma. England manager Sarina Wiegman said her plans to prepare the team for the Women's World Cup are being put in jeopardy, with clubs reluctant to release players in time to begin a training camp on June 19th. The tournament in Australia and New Zealand kicks off on July the 20th, with England starting their group campaign 2 days later against Haiti. FIFA's original deadline for clubs to release players was July 10th, but that drew sharp criticism that it did not give national teams long enough to prepare. The global governing body and European Club Association then reached an agreement for players to be released from the 23rd to the 29th of June when their domestic seasons are completed. The South Sea Sharks have added another Springbok to their lineup with the news that tight head Connie Oosthuizen will be joining the Durban side. Oosthuizen, who is 34 and has spent the past few seasons with Sale, including helping them get to the Premiership final this season, will return to his former side to add to his 44th caps in Super Rugby and 11 in the Currie Cup. This means the South Sea Sharks have replaced outgoing Bok tight head Thomas du Toit, who will join Bath in the new season with another Springbok in Oosthuizen. It also means their frontline 4 props are all Springboks, with Oxnye, Nukolo Muchunu and Vincent Koch giving them a stellar prop lineup for the coming season. If you are just joining us, this is NMH at 1, and we'll get into the news highlights from today's broadcast right after this.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraika. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Here are the news highlights from today's broadcast. Foreign ministers from the BRICS countries are meeting in South Africa from Thursday as the 5-nation bloc seeks to forge itself into a counterweight to Western geopolitical dominance in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Amazon is to pay $25 million to settle allegation that it violated children's privacy rights with its Alexa voice assistant. Employee benefits group Alex Forbes has partnered with Namibia's Technical Basketball Academy to empower young individuals by supporting their growth through sports and life skills training. Those have been your highlights. Remember to tune in every weekday at 1 p.m. to spend your lunch hour with NMH at 1, catching up on the latest news in Namibia, Africa, and the world, ranging from current affairs, economic news, sports, and international headlines. It's goodbye from us in studio.